Hey guys, so I want to make a quick video going over 7 tips that may help returning or new players in Path of Exile 2, as the game is looking quite difficult, and there's definitely a lot of things you can forget if you're returning or if you're completely new to the game. So these tips will help you a lot in the early acts, acts 1 to 3, which should be good for all the acts in general. The first one is try to constantly keep your life flask updated. You can always buy the highest tier life flask through the vendor in town. This is very important in Period 1. It looks to be even more important in PoE 2. Check your town every few levels and always make sure your life flask is updated. It's your main source of recovery, especially early on. Number 2, recovery stats like life regen and energy shield could be huge for the first few acts, especially in Act 1. Having something like 5 life regen when you only have like 100 life is quite meaningful. Do try to get recovery stats early on if you are struggling. You can find it on any piece of gear, life regen rolls on anything besides weapon, and you can get energy shield bases on like boots, gloves, helm, or chest. Very useful stats in Act 1. Number 3, constantly pick up gear and look through vendors. This may seem obvious, but it can be very easy to forget to check vendors every few levels if you feel like your gear is falling behind. And keep in mind, a 2-stat magic item can be better than a 4-stat rare or even a 5-stat rare. The most important stats on gear is life and resist, and then you want to go with the highest damage of weapon you can get. So don't be afraid to like keep on magic items. I've used magic items all through PoE1 campaign before, and it's no issue whatsoever. The only stats you need on gear is life and resist, and anything else is just bonus and extra. Don't get tricked or fooled by items having 5 or 6 stats. What's really only important for leveling is just life and resist, and a lot of stats can be really bad in PoE, so just keep that in mind. You really just want life and resist in every single slot. Number 4, use your craft and currency. So currency in the campaigns will be a lot more plentiful in PoE, and we have seen that with the recent gameplay videos. If you have a really good rare weapon or a really nice piece of body armor or something, feel free to use your exalts on it. But do try to focus on your weapon. That is very, very important in PoE. Number 5, gamble often. So this is a new feature to PoE 1, and it's also brand new in PoE 2 as well, where you can essentially just gamble for gear. So you can gamble for weapons, chest armors, anything really. Preferably you do want to save your gold for weapons, but it's fine to use it on like any piece that's lacking. If you have like really bad boots or really bad gloves, use gold. Gold is very plentiful and you have no problem finding more gold later on. Usually how it works is that you just get more and more gold each act. Don't be afraid to spend all your gold. It's very plentiful. It's meant to be used all the time. Don't hoard it. Use your gold if you're struggling. It's a very important mechanic in the new PoE 2 gear system. Number 6, and probably one of the most important tips, is try to keep your weapon updated. Weapons are a massive part of your damage in Path of Exile. If you're struggling with damage, it's most likely because your weapon is just outdated. It's like 10 levels behind you, or it just has bad stats. Keep your weapon updated at all times. Good weapon stats to look out for is plus levels, flat damage on attack-based weapons, or increased elemental damage or increased spell damage on caster weapons. The difference between a good weapon and a bad weapon can easily be the difference of 2 times damage. So yeah, it's very important to keep your weapon updated. Number 7, don't be afraid to visit another area if you're struggling on a boss. You don't need to brute force your way through the campaign. If you are struggling, go back zones, look for the bosses you missed, maybe gain a few levels, gain a few extra passive points from the quest. Whatever it is, if you have to go back and farm a zone, don't feel bad about doing it. You are meant to explore it in this new game. So if you're struggling, just get a few levels. A couple more skill points can be a big difference in power, especially early on. The difference between a level 10 and a level 14 character, for example, can easily be like 50 to 60% more damage. So your levels are a massive power gain, and you can definitely overlevel every single content in the campaign. So just keep that in mind. One last tip I want to give is to make sure you're always adding sockets to your weapon and adding runes to them. If you're an attack-based build like melee or bows, adding runes that give flat damage to your weapon is massive, especially for early on. If you're a new returning player, at least this will be very helpful for you throughout the whole campaign, but most of these tips really apply in the first 2 acts. So yeah, that's about it.